My name is Anna. I live in a small village in the north. The winters are long here. Snow falls for months, and the silence can be deafening. 3 winters ago, my husband left and never came back. This is the story of how I survived. I was married to Victor for 7 years. We weren't perfect, but I loved him. We had a son, Misha, who was 5 when it happened. Victor was quiet, practical, and hardworking. He worked as a mechanic in town, and I stayed home with our boy. We lived simply, a wooden house with a tin roof, a fireplace that crackled every evening, and a garden in spring. I baked bread. He chopped wood. Misha played with sticks and snow. Our life wasn't romantic, but it was warm. Then one morning, Victor packed a bag. I need to go to the city, he said. I've got an opportunity. Just for a few weeks. I nodded. Okay, we'll wait. But the weeks turned to months. His calls grew shorter. Then they stopped altogether. I sent letters, no reply. Finally, I received one short message. Don't wait for me. That winter was the first I spent alone. The nights were endless. The house creaked from the cold. I didn't cry. I couldn't. Misha asked, "Where's Papa?" And I would smile. He's working. Darling. But deep inside, I knew he wasn't coming back. He had left us. No explanation. No apology. Just silence. The villagers whispered. She must have driven him away. Maybe he found someone better. Poor woman. I stopped going to the market. I sent a neighbor to buy flour and oil. I stayed in my home, keeping warm with fire and pride. I began to change. At first, it was survival, chopping my own wood, fixing the broken stove, teaching Misha to tie his boots. Then it became something more, strength. I discovered parts of myself I had never known. I didn't need anyone to protect me. I was enough. But the loneliness lingered. At night, I would lie in bed and remember Victor's voice. I would imagine what I should have said, what I could have done. And then I would tell myself, no. He laughed. That is not your fault. The second winter came. Misha turned 6. He stopped asking about his father. I saw the change in his eyes, the quiet maturity that comes from disappointment. It broke my heart. I worked harder. I sewed clothes for neighbors. I baked pies and traded them for coal. I made enough to send Misha to school with warm boots and a lunchbox. One morning in February, there was a knock at the door. It was Victor's sister, Elena. She stood there, wrapped in a fur coat, holding a red envelope. He's getting married, she said. I stared at her. To whom? A woman from the city. She's rich, divorced. They're having a ceremony next week. She hesitated. He wanted you to know. I nodded. Thank you. Elena looked uncomfortable. I think he regrets what he did. He said he wasn't ready for this life. I smiled coldly. Well, I was, and I closed the door. That night, I sat by the fire and let the tears come. Not for him, for me, for the years I spent building a life someone else could walk away from. The third winter arrived with snowstorms. Misha was 7 now, curious and clever. He loved books. I borrowed stories from the village library and read them aloud at night. One evening, he asked, Mama, do you ever miss Papa? I paused. Yes, I said. I miss who I thought he was. Misha nodded. I don't miss him. And I believed him. We began to laugh more, to dance in the kitchen, to play cards on Sundays. I taught him how to make soup, how to patch a coat, how to say no with dignity. Then came spring. The snow melted, the birds returned, and with it, a letter. It was from Victor, handwritten, pages and pages of apologies. I was a coward, he wrote. I didn't know what I had. I never stopped loving you. I made a mistake. Can we meet? I sat on the porch with the letter in my lap. Misha was skipping stones by the river. I read it again and again. Then I folded it and placed it in the fire. Some stories don't need sequels. Some wounds should not be reopened. That summer, I planted roses. I painted the house pale yellow. I sewed new curtains with little birds on them. I even laughed again, fully, loudly. People stopped whispering. They began to say things like, "She's strong. She raised that boy so well. She didn't give up." I wasn't looking for praise, but it felt good to be seen. Not as the abandoned wife, but as Anna, the woman who survived 3 winters alone, but not broken. Misho is 10 now. He writes poems and wants to be a teacher. We still live in our wooden house. The fireplace still crackles. The winters are still long, but now they're not lonely. Because we made it. Because I chose to heal. Because I finally understood. Love isn't about who stays in your bed. It's about who stays in your heart and how you stay true to yourself. If you've ever been left, remember this. You are not what someone abandoned. You are what survived. You are what rebuilt. You are what rises again. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched you, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you are in your own winter, please hold on. Spring is coming. I promise.